As I approach 30, I've been reflecting really on what truly has changed or transformed my life in these like 30 years that have been living. From mindsets that I've had to walk through and overcome and I'm still overcoming, to like the daily habits and rhythms that I put in place, and how these 30 things have really helped me create a slow and simple, savory life, along with being just super intentional with my life. I'm sure you'll see a lot of videos this year saying I'm turning 30, and I am. I look at turning 30 with such like hope and excitement and a little like trepidation. But I know that like my 20s had been so sweet. Half of my 20s, no, over a majority of my 20s I was married. I got married at 23. Wow. 2018 to 2025. I'm gonna be married for almost 7 years. That's crazy. Okay, well, anyways, the reason I want to do this video is because I recently spent this past weekend, by myself, and I'm a mom of 2. It's just been so rejuvenating. I am a person that really thrives when I'm alone. I just feel like I get this creative energy. I can just do what I want to do and just like have slowness and stillness, and I just feel like that's when I become the most creative. That's kind of what inspired this video. As I was on my walk today with my dog, I just was like, the sun is shining. I'm just really inspired to share a few things that I've learned since by the time you see this, I'll be 30, but I actually love that my birthday's in February because it just feels very fresh and new. Like I get to start the new year at a new age, and I just think that that's really fun. I kind of want to share like the mindsets that I've had or I've gone through, certain health and wellness things that I have ascribed to, value relationships and connection, and then lastly, I want to talk about how I've grown to appreciate simplicity and how I prioritize my own personal growth, even as a mom and a wife. This is gonna be fun. So the first 10 or so are gonna be like the mindsets that I've walked through and the challenges that I've gone through that have shaped me and made me the person that I am today. So the first one, probably what's happened in the last like two to 3 years, is like I've just become very intentional about what I bring into my home, very particular about the quality of items, literally just anything you bring into your home, clothes, food, like other materials. I went on this my own decluttering journey, and it's been so impactful to see how that has transitioned into every other phase of my life. In 2023, I made this intention with myself that I was gonna make first, thrift second, and buy brand new third. And that intention set me on this like path of just being super intentional about what I bring into my home and how I bring it into my home, along with like the finance part of it as well. Number 2 is just creating rhythms and routines that are unique to me, because you can listen to all these other people tell you how to live your life, but you have to experiment with your own routines and rhythms and really find out and hone in on what works for you. Number 3 is really letting go of perfectionism. I don't know if you grew up like this, but it was an athlete. I strived to be the best and would really try to like shake off the mistakes, but like at the end of the night, like I was always wondering what could I have done better. And now that I'm like, you know, going into my 30s, I feel like perfectionism really like leads me down a path of like feeling overwhelmed and like not enough. It's not true. Really just letting go of perfectionism and letting good enough be good enough. Like as much as I can get done in a day is as much as I can get done in a day. I might have the perfect routine, I might have the perfect rhythm, but what I was trying to say here is really that not every day is going to be the same level of production, and I am okay with that, because perfect for one day is different than perfect for another day. Number 4 is probably one of the biggest things that I can say to moms is really just trust your intuition and lean on what feels right in your mama gut. Because if you cannot trust your own instincts, I think you have a problem. Ooh, we're getting spicy. Number 5 is really letting ease take over your days rather than worry or anxiousness or anything like that. And really trying to not overcomplicate things to the point where you feel like you can't ask for help, that nobody is able to help you. You have to do it all, because then you are not allowing other people to serve you in the way that they would like to serve you. I feel like I really walked through this season of I'm the only one that can do anything, but that's not true. I have people in my life that are willing to help me, that are willing to listen to me, that are willing to help me out. Number 6 is I have just let overwhelm no longer be a part of my life. Conquering overwhelm is such a hard topic because I go through waves of feeling like I have it all together and that I'm not overwhelmed. And for a long time it used to be like I can't handle that, but now I say I can handle that, because overwhelm I feel like is one of the biggest battles I've ever had in my life. And I think it has to do with like somehow how I was raised and like just genetics. I feel like some people really struggle with overwhelm, and I have been one of those people for my whole life. Like, I'm not trying to let overwhelm consume my life anymore. Number 7, accepting that I don't control everything and giving that back to God, because He is the only one that is in control, and I lean on Him to know and to trust that He is in control of my life. That is one of the most foundational mindsets I could ever have, and I want to pass on to other people, because your faith always has to be bigger than your fears. You can hold two thoughts at once, fear-based or faith-based. Which one do you think has a better outcome? It's not fear, it's faith. Number 8 is to choose gratitude over comparison. I feel like growing up with social media, you were constantly comparing yourself, especially if you're a millennial. And then this last mindset is serving my family and focusing on those connections and creating a peaceful environment while at home. Now, recently, I feel like I've been more into like lighting candles and not turning on overhead lights. I guess that's not new. That's just been my whole personality. But just lighting candles and creating a mood in the home. I feel like that's something that I'm really going to continue to do as I go into my 30s, because candle lighting is just so calming and just so lovely in my opinion, and I think that it'll just be a ritual that I want to continue. I'm really picky about the candles that I bring into my home, because I'm really not a person who loves fragrance or having those kind of fragrances, strong fragrances in my home. They really bother not only me, but like my husband and my kids. Like, we just notice if there is a strong scent, because I don't use strong scents anywhere in my home really, and I'm really particular about the scents that are in our home. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but like, if you are not paying attention to fragrances, I highly, highly recommend that you look into fragrances. Conveniently, talking about health, is the next few topics are going to be about health and well-being. One of the biggest things that I've changed in the last year or so is going on family walks, like on a daily basis, especially when it's nice out. It's hard when it's winter. If it is nice enough, we've just been bundling up and going for a walk, and it's just been so lovely. Number 12 is to get as much sunshine as possible. I feel like I'm truly a solar human being, and I just feel like I come alive when the sun is out and when I'm outside getting sunshine on my body, getting sunshine on my skin, being out in nature. I think that that is so restorative as a people, and I just like, for me personally, I think it's so restorative, and I feel like I just become more creative when I'm outside and when the sun is shining, and I feel more grounded and connected to my life. And if I get overwhelmed, that's my biggest strategy, is to just go for a walk and get out of it. Just clears your mind, and you're doing something that is restorative to your body too. Number 3 is staying hydrated. I have been loving electrolytes in my water. I really love this company, Jigsaw Health. they have a potassium cocktail powder, electrolyte powder, that I've just been loving. It's the blueberry flavor. It used to be called pickleball, but now it's not called pickleball anymore. It's called potassium cocktail. So I swear by replenishing your minerals, and the biggest way is in your water. Like if you're drinking plain water, I'm sorry, but you need to figure out what minerals you are missing and just add them to your water. I could deep dive into minerals, but they are just foundational, and you need to figure out what electrolyte mix and electrolyte powders work best for you. I know I've had Element, I've had this potassium cocktail, and then I've tried little liquid IVs and stuff like that, but I really love this potassium cocktail because it's more potassium with sodium, and it also has a few other key minerals that just make hydrating my body so much easier. Again, I could deep dive into minerals, and I'm trying not to. Now, number 14 is I prioritize my sleep, and I very much protect my circadian rhythm. I sound woo woo, but I really truly try not to go on my phone like an hour before bed. I'm reading before I go to bed. I have an evening ritual that like I will get cozy in my bed, I will read my book for a while, and then I will go to sleep. And reading has also been such a gift. Like I feel like I have learned so much in the last couple months because I finally just started reading books before bed, and it's just like feel like I've just learned so much, and it's expanded my thinking so much that I could just go on about reading. Prioritizing your sleep, making sure you're sleeping in a dark room, you're not using your phone before bed. Those are my 15. This kind of goes to listening to my own intuition, but listening to my body and my body's cues. Especially if you're a woman, you have different needs throughout your cycle that you need to pay attention to. Like for me, when I am around my ovulation phase, I just get so hungry. Same thing when I have my monthly. Really prioritize rest. I don't want to be going to places. I don't want to be social. I want to just stay cozy in my bed. I want to reflect. I want to journal. I want to write. I want to read. I want to just hang out with my kids and my husband and do cozy things. I think honoring your body in that way is so much more restorative than pushing through and not paying attention to those cues. I feel like I could go on about that too. Number 16 has been, I really prioritize cooking as many meals from home as I can. Is overall better for your body. You know exactly what ingredients are going in there. You can, I feel like that's all I need to say. Conveniently, that goes into number 17, which is just focusing on nourishment and not following specific diet, because I feel like you can so easily be so restrictive in your eating if that's what you're focusing on. So I really try to eat protein, carbs, and fat at every meal. And I would love in my 30s to get a continuous glucose monitor and geek out on my blood sugar. I really try to eat my veggies first, then my protein, then my carbs, so that it's better on my digestion. I've noticed that it is better on my digestion if I eat in that way. Like I feel like I used to get stomach aches if I would just eat my carb first, and now since I've really switched to eating my veggies first, I don't get that like gut cramping. I don't know. I haven't gotten in a long time, so it's hard for me to describe. I think you know what I mean. Number 18 is to stop multitasking. If I'm going to be doing the dishes, then I am doing the dishes, and I'm creating a ritual around doing the dishes. If I am with my kids, I'm not on my phone. If I'm with my husband, I'm not on my phone. If I'm cooking, I am cooking. I feel like it just brings this sense of presence and grounding to your activity, helps you feel more in the moment. Number 19, creating rituals around household tasks is literally what I just said, isn't it? Like I've recently transitioned into lighting a candle every time I start the dishes, because it just brings this awareness to, okay, we're going to be washing the dishes, we're going to be burning a candle. It's going to be, you're creating this like environment, this peaceful environment, and I love it. What's another ritual I do? When I wake up in the morning, when I'm making breakfast, I also light a candle, especially when it's been dark here in the wintertime. I feel like we just have so little daylight hours that lighting a candle every morning has just become this ritual that I look forward to every single morning when I wake up, and it's made it easier to get out of bed because I know that I'm going to reset gently as I wake up in the morning. I think like going along with seasonal rhythms and like what nature does is some divine wisdom that I really want to dive into in my 30s. 20, regularly decluttering so that I can have like a sense of calm and peace in my home. That's one of the biggest things for me. Is I feel like the overwhelm of items is what overwhelms me. Just knowing that like less is so much more for me, for my kids, for my husband, for our lifestyle. I just think that the less amount of things that you can have and manage, the less overwhelm that you will have. And number 21 is writing often. I find writing to be such a restorative practice for me, especially when I feel like I have a lot of thoughts coming in my head and I can't get them to organize themselves. Seeing it on paper just helps me so much. I just think writing is so special. I feel like I'm gonna get emotional, but like it's helped me so much throughout my whole life, and I really didn't start writing until high school. Once I had a friend who gifted me a journal, and it was one of the best gifts that I ever received. So it just helped me process a lot of my own thoughts and feelings through my early 20s and then through my marriage. And it's just such a beautiful practice. Okay, now we're into how I connect with my kids, with relationships. The first one is I really value having a close circle of friends. I'm not someone who thrives with managing a lot of relationships and having a lot of friends. Part of that is from growing up. I had horrible friends, and it takes me a long time to trust people and to bring them into my circle, but once you are in my circle, I will care for you. I will cherish you. I feel like just being a friend is hard for me. So I do value close friends, and I don't let many people into my inner circle because I was hurt so bad. So I'm trying to be a little bit more open with that. I think it's okay to have a small circle of friends. I don't think that I need to have that many, but it does help to go through life with friends that aren't your sisters, that aren't in your family, that is just like an outside perspective on your life, who's like lived life alongside of you. Number 22 is some friends are just not meant to last a lifetime, and that's okay. It's sad, it's hard, but some friendships just cannot last, especially when you get through different seasons of life. It's just harder to maintain those friendships, especially if you always reach out, but they don't. To be a good friend, you have to be a friend. If you want people to reach out to you, then you have to reach out to them too, which is great advice, and I need to subscribe to that more. Number 23 is I am just very intentional about the people that I let into my life, intentional about the people that I do open up to. Number 24 is I'm very good about setting, maybe that's 23, maybe that's 25. I don't know, I've lost count at this point. I really have strong boundaries around my time and energy, and the most important relationships in my life are with my husband and with my kids. I will always put them first, no matter what. Number 25 or 26 or 27, I'm not sure which number we're on, is just spending quality time with my loved ones on a daily basis, especially with my kids. Like, I value their time so much, and I'm just so intentional with it when I come home from work. I'm just so lucky and blessed to be their mom and to be married to Tyler. He's just the love of my life. He just compliments me so well, and I just would not be the person I am right now without him. Okay, the last 4 or 5. I think this goes along with just adding simplicity into your life, and a lot of things that I've been talking about lately is just boundaries around my phone. And I like to read more often. I think that reading is such a powerful way to feel grounded, and I feel like it also expands my mind, but it also keeps me grounded, and it's not as much of a dopamine hit as your phone is. Having strong boundaries around your phone will do wonders for yourself. and for your relationships and feeling like you have a simple life, because you're not constantly comparing yourself to other people and you are just living exactly how you want to, and you're not comparing yourself to anything else. Practice gratitude for the smallest things. I feel like I see this a lot with my kids. Like, they are my reminder to just simplify and slow down and be in the moment with them, because their wonder, I do not want to squash. I want their imagination to be big and beautiful and wild and perfect and imperfect. 29 is releasing this urge to feel trendy, to go along with the trends, and really just focus on what works for me and my family. What feels good to your own intuition? What feels good to my own intuition? You can craft the kind of life that you want and not care about the opinions of others. Lastly is slowing down, savoring my days, and being present. That is the biggest thing that I wish I could pass on to anybody, is the ability to slow down, savor in the present moment, and not let life be too busy to pass you by. Because you have all these obligations. I know you do. But what about those people? What about your kids? What about your mom? What about your dad? What about your grandparents that are still alive? Slow down and be in those moments with them. So these 30 things have really brought me to the place that I am and will springboard me into my 30s. And I hope that you resonate with some of these. If you do, I want to know what resonates the most. And if there's one thing in your life that has changed, please leave it in the comments. I would love to know if any of these things have changed or impacted your life. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Happy birthday to me.